Renaissance Associates is a engineering consulting firm that supports the Department of Defense, providing program management, engineering, architecture, and IT support. Government organizations are starting to look increasingly at enterprise architecture technology to improve their efficiency and effectivity in accomplishing their missions. They're recognizing that with the potential reduction in resources, they've got to become better at using the resources on hand. What we've done in the past in supporting our government customers is we've helped them to take time to look at the big picture, look at the strategic vision, and step away from the old paradigms of looking at things narrowly focused based on just one organizational element, and instead looking strategically. Look across the organization in terms of where does the organization need to go long-term, big picture. The offerings from Provision and Metastorm products in general that really caught our attention for implementing an enterprise architecture were, first off, its simplicity and ease of use, the robustness of the product suite, and then the fact that the tools themselves allowed us to not only go in and capture the architecture data relative to the customer products we were trying to address, but also enabled us to start looking at the organization processes, the resources, the personnel, and tying all of that together. It gave us the ability to comprehensively embrace the organization and how it functioned, and to help the organization, the government customer organization, to better understand how they were organized, and then begin to proceed in figuring out how to move forward, how to make changes to be more efficient, more effective. We currently have an effort that's ongoing with one of our government customers in which we're doing an incremental implementation of enterprise architecture. We started out by doing the architecture definition for a number of their products. It's a relatively small organization. It's PEO Soldier, Program Executive Office Soldier. They've got a couple of missions. They're responsible for, in the acquisition world, procuring and developing literally everything the soldier wears and carries and takes into battle. On the operational side, they have to also sustain that effort and support the warfighters and the global war on terror. So as we started working with the organization, they wanted to understand what the architecture structure was for a couple of their key integrating products. When the effort began, it was apparent that no architecture had been put in place previously for the organization or its products, and so as a result we had a considerable amount of work to do. As we went forward and worked on the architecture for those integrating products, what we came to realize was that Provision gave us the ability to not only capture the data that was needed for that product's architecture, but it captured it in a way that enabled us to extend it and use it beyond just the DoD architecture framework, the DODAF framework products, and repurpose that data for use elsewhere within the organization. That's turned out to be extremely useful. Since doing just that part of the EA implementation, we've been able to repurpose that same data and use it to answer numerous data requirements that other stakeholders have levied on the organization in a very, very quick and efficient fashion. The organization has started becoming more data-centric, has started looking at their data in a different perspective. Heretofore, they had looked at product data as something that was static, shelfware, if you will, that once done, taken care of, and delivered was put on the shelf and never really repurposed. Now we are successful in helping them to look at their data as a valued resource that enables them to be much more efficient and effective in working with their customer, the warfighter, and providing a more responsive product to them. The Organization sees data access, timely data access, and data utility, or value rather, to be the true mark of success. We want to be in a position, they want to be in a position where that data enables them to be able to quickly adapt to the changing requirements for their customer, the warfighter. What we've seen is that we've positioned ourselves now that in a way that enables us to quickly gain an understanding of where we are with our products and correspondingly where the requirements are and what the delta is, and be able to adjust accordingly. There are a number of upcoming initiatives that we believe the Metastorm product suite would be useful. It gives us the ability to not only go in and capture an individual product's architecture, but it enables us to start capturing and defining an enterprise architecture and to map out the processes. And the processes are really, really important to us. In the DoD arena, you've got a tremendous amount of complexity, huge number of stakeholders, most often geographically dispersed workforce, and so you want to have a process flow that's well understood and is documented. The Metastorm product suite gives us the ability to be able to do that and hopefully ultimately get to a point where we can automate it as well. I believe that using the Metastorm products has positioned the organization to be better prepared strategically to leverage the data for current products as well as emerging products. There's work still to be done, but they are far more able to accomplish their mission now than they were in the past as a direct result of using these tools. I think the biggest recommendation I would make to any agency considering doing an EA is to step back and look at the big picture for the organization. Too often organizations tend to focus narrowly on the near-term stovepipe interests and objectives and forget the big picture for the organization. When you step back and look at it strategically, what you find is that there are bigger demands that have to be addressed, and if you look at them holistically, you can begin to see the picture in terms of how trades need to be made. In doing that, you will gain an appreciation for how simply going in and addressing the holistic picture, you can use the enterprise architecture to better prepare your organization to be effective and efficient. Going in with a stovepipe approach, you will answer the mail near term, but you will more than likely miss the mark strategically. All of the product suites within the Metastorm portfolio are very, very complementary. The architecture tools, the business process modeling tools, the automation of the business process modeling tools, all are very conducive to an enterprise architecture. When you look at an organization and you address the totality of what that organization is doing, you have to understand their products, you have to understand their resources, both people and equipment, as well as software, and you have to understand the processes that tie that together. And the Metastorm product suite gives you the ability to do that in a comprehensive fashion without you as an individual having to go in and build the logic and the connectivity associated with it across the different disciplines. That's very, very valuable. It gives an organization an opportunity to quickly leverage themselves forward and position themselves to be more competitive.